Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to reading for January 17th, 2024. It'll be a Wednesday, that is tomorrow. But if you come across this reading at any time, this is a timeless reading. And hopefully there's something here for you. This is Bear Food Mama Intuitive Reading, and we'll just go ahead and open with a little sound bowl here. Boom. Nice. So, if you want to enter to win a free reading on 222, go ahead and enter free reading in the comments. And I'm using a deck today. It's a new deck for me called the Surrealist Tarot by Luigi Di Giammarino. I got it on Temu and it didn't come with a book, so I've got my computer pulled up here to learn a little bit about that. We have the Ten of Pentacles reverse coming out, but I didn't see reversals in these readings. Anyway, I did a reading with this deck today on my Patreon. For my Patreon members, that membership's only $5.55 a month if that interests you. And I was really pleased with the results. I really am enjoying like just reading them intuitively, and then the messages themselves are just really nice. So we have this really cool, I think it's a dodecahedron on the back, which is, it's like the 3D encapsulating like shape of the Merkaba to me. So anyway, we have the Ten of Pentacles reverse coming out as the heart of the matter. The Knight of Cups reverse. I've used this deck once for Patreon and then once for a private reading, and that card has come out every time, the Knight of Cups reverse. It also came out reversed in your reading yesterday, so whatever's going on with you, Scorpio, it has to do with a revoked or a love offer that's been revoked or not given, or somebody who's coming in with what appears to be a love offer but with like ulterior motives. Let's see, Two of Swords. On my Patreon membership, I do a little bit more to sort of show the cards, and these cards you really like should see, but I'll show you as we go along. I'll read them intuitively and show them to you, and then we'll read the messages and clarify with the tarot. Queen of Pentacles under the Knight of Cups. Wow, she's really cool looking. Judgment reverse. Okay. And the Five of Pentacles reversed. Okay, interesting. So intuitively, I'm going to put this little doodah here for that one. We have the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Here's what it looks like upside down. Let's look at it right side up. So you've got this guy in like a shiny airplane thingy or like a faucet with a chessboard on his head. So he's been strategizing, and he's also a pawn. But it's like he's not seeing it because the chessboard is on top of his head and he's sort of stuck in this little like chess piece. So the Ten of Pentacles reverse, I feel like in this reading is being happy with your place in the material world. And so reverse, it's like, yeah, maybe not so much right now as the overall energy of where you're at. The Knight of Cups reverse, I'm just going to show you. There's like this landscape down there. It's sort of shiny, so I'm trying not to move it around too much. Puzzle pieces, this super abstract like male form, and then also this sort of like faced orange blob back here. I want to look at all of these and see what they are. So the cups in this deck definitely signify love. The pentacles say liberation. So the Ten of Pentacles is the large table. There is no contrast between high and low, between material wealth and spiritual objectives. Yeah, definitely like an energy of contentment or being happy or content in your fixed situation. Sorry, I'm like reading on my computer and it's kind of back here. the Cups. Love as the sole salvation in the world, love that is implored, suffered, or betrayed, but in the end always sought after. Rebellious and explosive, unknown and magical, the only harshness that man needs to know. Which is just a really great sentiment about love. Like, love is something harsh, and the only harshness we really need to know here. So the Knight of Cups says harmonious conversation with the shadows of the psyche. A desire to change the world according to one's ideals may change the world, may lead to bitter disappointment. Sorry. So if you want to change the world according to your own ideals, or if you're feeling like you need to make something happen, this is you knowing that disappointment. This is also you understanding like that it doesn't really make sense to try and force your opinion on other people, especially this came out in the first reading I did, in the Patreon reading I did today. Especially if they're like not ready to hear it. Queen of Pentacles underneath that. Look at this card. This is so cool. I'll show you the card and hold it up while I'm looking for the Queen of Pentacles here. Here we go. Stunning boldness, femininity, creativity, and sensuality. Indifference to envy. So some of these cards, sorry, I hope you could have seen, I hope you could see that. Some of these cards, the major arcanas have like the quotes and by the authors on them, by the artists. And so I think it's important to read through them. But this card is so interesting because she's got like these blinders on, almost like a horse. Her robes indicate like almost like a vaginal openness, which I think is really typical of art of that time, or leading into art, just following this time. She has a candle, but the flame is like not in the candlestick. It's not being held. It's like sort of being let loose. And then the Queen of Pentacles in the regular tarot, right? She indicates like nurturing and steadfastness, loyalty, like being grounded. Here she's very much in the dark, though. This is interesting because the Knight of Cups is basically like not being able to, like, reverse. It's like not having those conversations with your shadows that need to be had. And the Queen of Pentacles is standing here in the dark, like with her blinders on, but she's like shrouded in darkness. It's not a bad thing. I think that it can be really, again, grounding here, but there's something coming up or brewing up from the depths of your psyche, I think, that is asking you, yeah, Two of Swords reversed, maybe to make a choice you don't want to make. I think that the imagery on this Two of Swords reversed underneath that Ten of Pentacles, with this woman being like a violin, it's kind of hard not to show things that YouTube doesn't want me to show with these cards, which is why I had them on Patreon. But she has these like, she's hollowed out, right, like a violin, and then there's this arm, like kind of like the hand of God, and also like a nautilus shell, and this eyeball on a, oh my gosh, what is that called? A metronome. There's something here about like, I'm gonna put this little scorpion there. Losing your rhythm, or you feel like making a choice about whatever this is coming up out of your psyche will make you like lose your rhythm, or bring you out of sync or out of flow. But you're very much in the flow right now. We established that in our reading yesterday. So if you haven't checked that out, maybe feel free to go ahead and do so. We have Judgment reversed here. And this one's really trippy. I can't really show some of it, but there's this female figure like towering in the middle with the eclipse here. And then there's the two figures, the man and the woman, at the base here. And then you see this little spot and all of these like ribbons. this pertains to music or sound as well. Um, like the ripples of space time is how I initially saw it. So there's something here about you being very aware of sound, um, what's being spoken versus what's being seen, or that is coming into your awareness. What you see right now, you're sort of putting the blinders on because I think you don't want to see it. It's like maybe a little bit too overwhelming. Um, we'll clarify because I think this is really esoteric and bizarre. We have for the Emperor. So I'm gonna read the Emperor. It says here, I'll hold it up so you can see it, and then I'll look for number 4 here. Okay. Chrysolithic monster. Rational conquest does not make sense because the intimate reality of things is enclosed within a secret as soon as we think we have grasped the meaning. Quote, a creator only needs one enthusiast to justify himself. Unquote, Man Ray. An enthusiast? A creator only needs one enthusiast to justify himself. Interesting. Okay. I feel like I'm getting the story here. Here we have the Five of Pentacles reversed. Really super interesting card. I love that there's the arch here, the arch here, the arch inside the rib cage of this person that just it goes on and on and on forever. 5 is the number of like the points on the pentagram indicating like our physical human forms, and a little bit these people on stilts. It's like they're trying to get to this level, but again, the levels go on and on and on forever. So there's definitely something here about, I think, being disillusioned by the just excess of possibilities in reality. Um, like once you kind of bust open that bubble of like surrealist thought, or once you sort of like weave together the unconscious and the conscious in such a way that the barrier between the two is very thin or liminal. um you sort of like, I think you might be sort of holding your silence right now, Scorpio, because you're sort of realizing that once you what you speak comes into existence, or it's coming into existence quickly, like you're really quickly manifesting. And also, I think that if you've been looking for some sort of like highest point or some sort of like pinnacle experience, I think what you're feeling or experiencing right now is that there is no pinnacle, there's no spoon, right? Like that, like once you kind of get there, there's possibilities endless forever with this 5 of Pentacles reversed, um clarifying this Emperor. It's like maybe you had some sort of desire to gain control over your reality. Look at this guy, he's like, okay, this is such a cool picture. He's smoking a pipe, and then the smoke is like creating his crown and dissipating. It's also forming like this exoskeleton arm, like a bug or a cricket or something. And then there's this bird up here, and he's just standing like in this ocean. Like this ocean's just halfway up his legs. That is such a crazy picture. I love these cards. They're so cool. Um, I think it's interesting you have the Queen of Pentacles here and the Emperor, like maybe a divine couple or something. I want to read this Two of Swords just to get a better idea of like the particulars of this like card here, and then we'll clarify, I think, with just the regular tarot and the light seers, if this kind of reading interests you. Like a slower pace, sort of more in-depth, like new decks or whatever, you can join my Patreon. It's again $5.55 a month, but This is kind of more the stuff I do on Patreon. So Two of Swords reversed. The swords are the unconscious. So what's coming up out of your unconscious is this like judgment reverse. It's some sort of choice, or maybe a choice you didn't make. We're gonna check it out. In this deck, anyways, the swords are the unconscious. It says the psychic place where we need to immerse ourselves to experience the genuine mechanism of dreamlike experiences and reveal the true functioning of thought. Yeah. So I think I mentioned this today in the Patreon reading as well. Like Carl Jung, he worked in the subconscious a lot, right? Like that was kind of his jam, was like exploring the unconscious. And the whole purpose of the unconscious, or by definition the unconscious, is everything that we're not conscious of. So it's like literally everything except for the little minute bit of reality that we've fabricated around stories to like try and work together, right? So this is you sort of bringing stuff up out of the unconscious that you can then learn to integrate into the fabric of your reality. And maybe you're sort of coming up against this idea of like there not being a pinnacle, there never being an end, this sort of like there is no better up or down position. Like if you're, say, in communion with your higher self regularly, and that's where you gain your insights or wisdom, you may also realize that you have learned by going toe to toe with your demons as much as you have from gaining insight from your higher self. And there's, I think, like an idea here that this came up in your reading yesterday as well. Like, not enoughness came up. Like, you don't feel like you're enough, or you feel like um, your higher self is this like like a ladder of hierarchical like spiritual ascension or something, and that the top is the best, like that's a really inherently like western minded thought. Um and I think even like I don't know, the golden compass is coming to mind, that show with the kids who all have their like demons, right? And their demons are like their animal familiars essentially. And then I think like in ancient Judaism, or like older practices of Judaism. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with Judaism, but um, there were practices around like working with demons, not as like evil things, but like as essentially like the spirit of like a, like say the spirit of, if you smoke or something, it's the spirit of weed, or if you like drink, the spirit of alcohol, or if you, I don't know why those specifically are coming up, or if you let's say you're fabulous. I don't know why this is coming through, this is such a bizarre reading. It's surrealist, so that is what it is. Say you're like you just feel fabulous, and you're like communing with the spirit of being fabulous, like that spirit has a name. Oh, this came up in your reading a couple days ago. Something about identifying, or just what is it? I'm having a really hard time putting words to these cards, and I think that's sort of the point of them. But something about like realizing that there are spirits outside of the realm of what we can see. And this is you like learning to name them, or really accepting that version of reality for what it is. And the way you're able to do this, if that's something that you're in very like high resistance to, is by realizing that there is no like higher or lower realm. There's just essentially, with all these sound vibrations coming through in this reading, and the judgment card reverse, which is you like sort of undoing this judgment, right? Of upper or lower. There's just like sound vibrations and matter and just things playing out in this sort of like entropic, ever unfolding like chaos. And you don't have to believe that. It's just one way to look at kind of a method of how to go toe to toe with like your demons in order to face them, in order to become comfortable with them, and in order to like resolve the cognitive dissonance between your conscious and unconscious mind, thereby making those demons less powerful, less scary. Wow, this is really interesting. Okay, that was a lot. Let's just kind of ground it with some regular tarot. If this is resonating with you, go ahead, 2025 on the timer. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Sorry, I just hit the mic here. Interesting. Scorpio. Super cool. Ten of Pentacles reversed. So I think this Ten of Pentacles reversed, in hindsight of that interpretation of this reading, is also just talking about with this new kind of understanding of like undoing your judgment between light and dark, essentially. Like you thought you were walking in the light, right, with this Queen of Pentacles, but you were actually like shrouded in darkness. Um, it's like I'm not saying like you're siding with the dark side or with the light side or anything like that. It's literally like you're learning to overcome the duality of that thought process in order to like conquer your fear, which came out in your reading yesterday, conquering your fear. That's really awesome. Okay. I think I didn't finish my thought there, but I got excited. Let's see. This Ten of Pentacles reversed is you. Yeah. Ace of Pentacles. Ooh. Yeah, it's you re-envisioning what your Ten of Pentacles is. And then having a brand new beginning. Ace of Pentacles. That's like, again, over and over, what comes through for me for you, Scorpio, lately is that what you're manifesting manifests so quickly. Like, you're almost a little bit maybe freaked out by it, or having like an awakening because the universe is like kind of winking at you, you know, like, hey, this is how we talk, you and me. And you're like, what? No. I don't know. So I had a moment today where I like paid $2 for something in cash, and then I walked outside, and literally in the parking spot next to my car there was $2 on the ground. It was like the universe just being like, hey, what's up? Eight of Cups, walking away from something. What are you walking away from? I think your previous perspective, you may have gotten to a point where you were like, oh yeah, I'm the emperor of my realm and I feel great. But then there's this Five of Pentacles reverse where you feel kind of like there are so many ways you could still continue to go that, yeah, the pathways are infinite, and you almost are maybe feeling a little bit like, why bother? Like this guy is, he looks like he's just like, why bother? Like, let me just smoke my pipe while the waves rise. Whatever. That is so ridiculous. The Hanged Man, yeah. So you're totally feeling, this reading is a trip. The Hanged Man, you're totally feeling like, why bother going forward? I'm just gonna chill here. This is my epiphany. Like, any way I go, up, down, sideways, is just going to bring me a new experience. And if I don't have judgments about those experiences, or if I'm coming from this place of like having overcome so many demons or so many like desires equally, right? It all sort of just is. It's an experience. And this is kind of what happens when you like trip too hard, right? You just kind of are like, oh, it just is. It's also, I mean, a form of samadhi, or yeah, samadhi, like oneness. Keep hitting my mic, sorry. I'm trying to wear it a little closer because I've had some people talk about how it's a little difficult for them to hear, so I'm trying to articulate a little bit better. What is advice for Scorpios regarding this reading, this trippy reading? Four of Swords, rest. Just relax, Scorpio. This is actually like a really good place you found yourself in, although it may feel a little bit like an overwhelming existential crisis. The overwhelming part is your attachment to it wanting to go away. And so releasing resistance and just sort of understanding that this too shall pass just like everything else, right, is going to help you through this if this is what you're experiencing and this is what's resonating for you. Again, if it doesn't, like, don't try to make a story stick that doesn't. That'll just hurt your brain. Eight of Pentacles and the Nine of Swords reversed. Okay, that's cool. Your work is to recover, to relax, especially if you've had this is weird. So if you had all this stuff come up from your unconscious, right? That can be like, that is terrifying stuff. Like, we keep stuff in the unconscious because we don't want to deal with it or know how to deal with it. And the story about this emperor, right, is that there was that quote we just read that was like, the creator needs only one enthusiast to justify himself. If you went through something where you were a little bit wacko, but you have one or two people who are able to, like, sort of meet you there, or even if they don't understand all the way, they can, commiserate or like get behind you somehow. I'm thinking of, like, also, when you watch a Marvel movie, the main character is just always so, like, dark and mysterious to the normal people who are just doing their lives. I'm not saying this is you necessarily, Scorpio. I think, everybody kind of has their own version of this going on within their psyches, because we can't ever know the full extent of what's inside of another person's mind as much as we might want to, right? Um, but whatever you went through, Scorpio, I think there was somebody around you who, either somebody around you or somebody in your spirit team, or just you coming to some sort of individual, like, yeah, communion with your divine self, where you felt justified in your experience. And I'm thinking this is like again, an existential experience. Like, if you are doing something, like, I'm not encouraging anybody to do something like outside of the realm of like what's normal or outside of the law, and I just need to put that disclaimer there because this is a YouTube channel where I read tarot for entertainment. So please take that with a grain of salt. Ace of Wands, that's very cool. Your advice here is to rest, recover. Work is coming, and the work you're going to be doing is going to be like, it's going to light that fire, light a brand new fire, even burn away all the old stuff or anything that's just not serving you anymore. And I feel like you're so unattached at this point, and not from a point of view of like our reading yesterday was about compassionate non-attachment. Not, it's not about like being like, oh, I'm over that, I'm done, like, ew, they can get out of my space. It's more like you just being like, okay, like, thank you for those experiences. Divine, like, send me where you will, essentially. Like, you're just kind of with it, whatever is going on for you. The Queen of Pentacles, what? That's crazy. I'm sorry. That's nuts. You've got the Queen of Pentacles back here and the Queen of Pentacles back here. This one's super, like, dark, and this one's really light. It's like, no matter what you're going through, Scorpio, you're so grounded. And this Queen of Pentacles might be somebody in your space who's like the person who's got your back, who, like, that one person who is your enthusiast, who's like helping you to be like, okay, I got this, like, we're powering through. But I feel a really positive reading here, and like, I feel really positive energies from all of this with the two aces. A lot of these cards came out in your reading yesterday, and you've seen me sitting here shuffling. So spirit is speaking. Anything else for Scorpios today? 29-25 is a short reading compared to my usual. Seven of Wands reversed. You don't have to be on the defensive anymore, so that's great. I feel like the Seven of Wands has come out like a lot. Judgment upright. This is you. That's interesting. I think this is you making a decision with that. You had the Two of Swords reversed and the Judgment here. I think this is you deciding, like, all right, this is what I want to do. Like knowing spirit will have your back. Like, this is you deciding on the work that you want to do from like a very conscious place, like a supra conscious place, like enlisting yourself as a tool for the divine. Also understanding that like the higher self, the divine you is like one with that in some way, in all ways. Like this is so bizarre, this reading. The King of Wands. That's interesting. This is you taking action, taking certain, clear, inspired action. The King of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles I really like as like divine counterparts. The King of Wands has like outgrown his sort of like playboy tendencies in the Knight of Wands, right? And I'm thinking like the King and Queen of Wands are good together. They're nice together. The Queen of Wands also uses like magic and sometimes black magic. She can be in her negative instances like vain and jealous. Um, but the King of Wands is just kind of like, well, I know what I want, so like you can be jealous all you want, like whatever. But the King of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles is like he takes the action and she holds down the fort, but not in like a she's barefoot at home like having a baby kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's how life works for you. I'm not placing any judgments on that, but if that's not what you want, obviously like you're not wanting to manifest that. So I think just all those judgments aside about I don't know, whatever. All those judgments aside, the Queen of Pentacles is like nurturing, abundant, grounded. She is focused, and she's focused on maintaining. The Pentacles are not just money, although we often read them that way. She's focused on maintaining hearth and home. Um, Hearth and home can also indicate the body. It can indicate like making sure that you're eating well. You know, she's probably a good cook, or she knows how to like enlist the help of a good cook. You know what I mean? And the King of Wands is like, I know how to have a good party. So together we have the best food and the best entertainment in the kingdom or whatever. I don't know why that's coming around. But yeah, your advice, Ten of Swords. If somebody has betrayed you, Scorpio, um, and you've this all is because an ego death, I'm actually getting that you're like happy to let that last sword just like kill that old ego of yours. You're like, oh yeah, bye ego. Like I'm Scorpio, I rise from the dead. That's my freaking job. And you have judgment here, which is the resurrection card. So it's like it's almost like you couldn't get that last sword to off that ego quickly enough. And I mean that of course in the most metaphorical sense. Um this is like the happiest Ten of Swords I've ever received. That is the um strangest thing and awesome. It's amazing. Cool. Anything else? Two of Wands. I think that any downside to this is that because you have the world in your hands, um, and you've sort of discovered sort of the key, I think, to your manifestations and your ability to manifest, at least at this moment, you have the world in your hands, and it might make you feel a little bit like complacent. Um, well, again, like that's come up a couple times in this reading. You're like, why bother moving forward or why bother doing anything if it's all just everything is just sort of a projection of my unconscious and an opportunity for me to resolve that and integrate it so that I can enter the flow state again. You know, like this is this is you also, I think, a warning, I would say, to keep in mind that everything changes. And if you feel a little bit bored with what's going on right now because you're in a flow state, don't fool yourself. Don't fool your ego into thinking it's got everything figured out. Because as soon as you think like, oh, I'm in the flow state, I got everything figured out, a whole new complex set of unimaginable circumstances that is the wheel of our karma, and our dharma is playing out, right, comes to meet you. That's why we do tarot. It reflects those archetypal journeys. So uh, enjoy the luxury of your current moment. Enjoy it, really enjoy it, like this Queen of Pentacles and this King of Wands. If you're not dealing with somebody else, this is you embodying those like masculine and feminine states within yourself. Just really enjoy it. Take your action knowing exactly what you want to do the work, with pride and precision, whatever that work is for you, having overcome your anxieties. If you're feeling stuck, just know that this is part of your work, like just enjoying, nurturing, being abundant, sitting on your throne. These king and queen of wands, or king of wands and queen of pentacles, they're sitting on their thrones. So they're not on a journey. They're not going anywhere. They're not like, what's around the river bend? They're like, just, oh, I've got what I need. This is what I'm doing. It's all good. So if you're used to having anxiety, or used to being in like a what's next, or used to survival mode, and you suddenly find yourself like, oh, everything's just actually okay, and I don't need to worry about anything, and worrying about everything just puts me in a state of worry, and there's other like experiences to have, right, with that Five of Pentacles reverse, like ultimate endless experiences to have. If this one's good, i'm just gonna I'm just gonna be good. I'm just gonna let things flow through me, instead of actively using my energy to seek out the next experience. I'm just going to let things flow through me. I'm going to be in this flow. And I think that's why all this resonance is here with the Two of Swords and the Judgment reverse. It's like letting the sounds wash over you to form the matter of you, just really entering that vibration. I think you're used to being like the needle on the recorder instead of the record that's being played, but it's like you've etched out your desire for your life experience to the needle of the universe, and now it's like sounding itself out, and you're just like, oh, like it's time to enjoy the music or face the music, whichever um resonates most with your circumstances. So, Scorpio, truly bizarre, awesome reading we had today. Please let me know how this resonated with you. If it did, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Again, you can enter to win the free reading on 2/22 by putting free reading in the comments. I will announce that in a separate post. And um, the only thing I would ask if you do win is to email me, because I have no way of getting the reading to you otherwise. Let's see, anything else? You can join my Patreon, $5.55 a month, and we recently reached 500 subscribers. I'm so grateful to you all. I love reading for you. So if you want to donate, you can do so here on my Cash App, or you can join the memberships here. There's some options for that. I wish my camera would stop doing that focusing thing. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I hope you have a lovely Wednesday. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.